Have you ever heard of the real cost? It's that one anti-smoking campaign by the FDA that made that commercial with the metal monster. Well, it's not just about smoking. It's anti-tobacco and nicotine in general. Like most anti-anything PSA campaigns, the campaign mainly used scare tactics. At least that's how I remember it, but to be honest, I didn't look into it much when making this video. The reason for that is I don't want to talk about any of the videos made under the Real Cost name. Rather, I'd like to focus on a more interactive form of education, a video game, designed to teach teens about the dangers of cigarettes. And that game is called One Leaves is a horror game developed by Wahoo Studios and was made available for free on PC and the Xbox One on February 28, 2019. The game was of course funded by the Real Cost campaign and was accompanied by cinematic trailers leading up to its release. I remember seeing the trailers for the game as ads on YouTube in 2019, and I didn't think it was an actual game, I just thought it was another video campaign. Eventually I downloaded the game sometime in 2021 and played it, and then made a gameplay video on it in 2022, which you can watch on Sidewalk Chalk. And oh boy, was it an experience. I won't lie, the game's bad. Very bad. But you won't know that for sure until I explain it to you. So let's jump right into that, shall we? I was actually supposed to make this video 2 years ago when I put a poll on my community tab for people to vote between One Leaves and Garden Story, so I'm sorry to the 5 people who voted and have been waiting for this video for, I don't know, like a year, 2 years, something like that. I'm not checking right now. I didn't mean for it to take so long, I just kind of forgot. Anyways, let's just get on with it. You begin in this cage with 3 other people in cages around you. This disembodied voice tells you only one of you will make it out and the other 3 will be trapped forever. But this voice will help you escape. Once the gate opens, you're released into this school and have to complete 2 tasks to move on to the next area. To find these puzzles, you have to follow these red wires on the ground. The first puzzle is in the library and it's laughably simple. When you interact with one of these bookshelves, the tan ones to be specific, all the other bookshelves move. To complete the puzzle, you have to get to this orange smoke on the other side of the room. I don't know what this is supposed to be, and neither did the writers or developers because the disembodied voice just refers to it as something special. The fastest way to do this is to just interact with these 2 shelves, which takes about 10 seconds. I kid you not, the first time I played this, I figured that out in like no time. It's not nearly as complicated as the narrator makes it seem. Once you're on the other side, just flip this lever and make your way to the next puzzle, which is this smoke-filled hallway. The narrator just tells you what to do in this one, just turn around at some point. At what point exactly, I honestly couldn't tell you. I think it's right after you pass the graffiti that says confused, but I had to keep turning around a couple times to get it to work. Might be some player error there, but the game does a horrible job at explaining what I'm supposed to do anyway, so I have no idea. Anyways, when that's done, there's another lever we have to pull, and then we get to move on to the next area. When you're through an area, the narrator tells you what place you came depending on how fast you completed the previous area, and he will of course antagonize you if you get 2nd or 3rd or 4th place. The next area is the hospital, and it's even quicker than the last. First, you have to turn on all these lights to proceed. Just flip the switches on the outermost sides and this iron lung will open, giving you a flashlight. Then follow the wire and it will lead you to this room, which I assume is the morgue. You have to pick one of these 4 doors and crawl inside. Picking the wrong one will either kill you or waste your time. I think if you just look where the wire is leading, that will be the right door, but I don't know, to be honest. Maybe I just got lucky twice. If it is in fact random, that's really unfair for a game that's based on speed. Moving on to the next area, and yes, that was all the hospital was, it's a sewer. I understood the school going into the hospital. I assumed it was portraying how many young people get into the habit of smoking at school and then the consequences lead them to the hospital. But what's with the sewer? Are they meaning to say your body will be dumped in the sewer once you die of lung cancer? I don't know, but it was a strange choice of setting. Anyways, the main objective here is to find the exit. There are some signs pointing you to the right direction, but it's more or less a maze. There's a lot of body horror flesh stuff in this section, more than the last 2, which I think is cool set dressing. When you find the exit, there are 2 possible outcomes. If you completed the game fast enough, you'll exit into a forest where the narrator informs you that you escaped, but your friends are trapped forever. How heartwarming. The end screen also tells you that if you try again, the maze will change, but you might not make it out again. Of course, mirroring the real-life cycle of addiction people can fall into. However, if you don't complete the game fast enough, you will open the door into a hospital room with beds, equipment, and some mysterious meat on the window. Kinda looks like tumors. The narrator tells you that you are now trapped forever, and the game prompts you to try again. Okay, so, anti-smoking. Great message all around. There are so many health risks that come with smoking, vaping, etc. So making young people aware of this is a noble endeavor. However, the game they made was not very good. First thing was the terrible performance issues. This might only be a PC problem because when I played this on my Xbox One back in 2022, it did not run this terrible, and before anyone asks, my computer is pretty good, so it should be able to run this game. I experienced immense lag and audio stuttering. The graphics were set to high as default, so I had to lower them all the way down to low to stop the lag, even though I didn't notice much of a difference visually. This, however, did not stop the audio issues.
It's like some kind of messed up Rubik's Cube.
Outside of that, the game is also just super unpolished. The gameplay is really simple and kind of confusing, but not in a difficult way. In a, I guess, practical way? Like the orange smoke in the library. Why is that the end goal? Aren't we supposed to be avoiding smoke? All the other smoke is bad. In the hallway section, it slows you down and causes coughing. But in this section, just because it's colored like unhealthy pee, it's okay? That makes no sense. And there are so many unnecessary areas, and that could be seen as a plus because some of these areas are kind of cool and give achievements on console, even if this gymnasium is just some trees shoved in a room. But again, this is a game based on speed. The main point of the game is that you have to be super fast, and the game can be pretty unforgiving with how long it takes for you to come second or third. So why include these areas that you have to go out of your way to find? Even if they're cool, it just defeats the purpose of the game. Everything in the game is controlled by a left click of your mouse or the A button on a controller, which is kind of annoying since I'm not used to it, but I suppose that's a preference thing, so I'll let that slide. The puzzles are kind of dumb. The library being laughably simple is just stupid, and I've tried to understand how the never-ending hallway works, but I just can't. And the morgue is just plain boring. I get that they're designed to be fast, but it just isn't good game design to have randomly generated puzzle answers when it isn't like a code or something. And just telling the player what they need to do when it's unintuitive is beyond me. For example, why do I need to turn around in this hallway? What does this represent? Why is this the answer? Like, at least the library smoke acts like a switch, and the morgue doors are basically tunnels where you need to go, but this one seems underbaked. If the narrator never told me that I needed to turn around, what would have clued me in that I needed to turn around? There's enough. I'm not even going to. It's also just too fast. Good horror builds. It allows for suspense, tension, but with one leaves, you're actively urged to keep going faster and faster, and there's no real threat to be scared of in the first place, and that's pretty underwhelming. Alright, this section is going to be super quick, but I think it's important to acknowledge the game's trailer, because it's genuinely peak. I'm going to play it in its entirety, and I'll let you judge.
What is this place?
Only one leaves?
Let's go!
Get out!
Come this way!
You did this to me.
The trailer makes it seem like this fast-paced, actually scary game, and I don't mean fast-paced in the sense that you have to go fast to complete the game. I mean fast-paced in like there's a threat and you feel scared, so you're doing things quickly. I especially appreciate this shot of the girl in the bathtub of a tar-like substance. The halls are a lot more tight and condensed than these cartoonishly wide halls that we got in the actual game, and the small snippets they include at the end make it seem like an actually interesting game with a solid message. Honestly, I think the game would have done better if they just made it a full motion video game and used these actors and a bigger set. If they just made the game look and feel more like the trailer, I think it would have played a lot nicer. Despite all of what I just said, I don't blame the developers. This is nothing more than a PSA in game form, probably produced with a budget of $5 and a couple loose buttons. And it's free, so I don't think they were looking for any return on investment. The developers Wahoo Games previously developed the Kefling series of games for the 360, and those were popular and beloved, so it's not like they're incompetent or anything, just dealt a bad hand. And that's kind of the curse when it comes to mixing video games and PSAs. So much goes into making a good game. sound design, animation, music, graphic design, gameplay testing, and without a good budget, that can be difficult for a studio to capture. But it isn't impossible, and one thing I will say Wahoo Games didn't have was the heart for it. If they did, I could have seen this game gathering a cult following because the concept isn't actually terrible, and the real cost isn't off the hook either. The game's scare tactics harken back to the DARE program, and we all know how unsuccessful that was. Taking the angle that you shouldn't smoke because you'll be trapped in purgatory forever, and if you do quit, your friends won't, just doesn't feel right. And yeah, let's be real, I don't actually believe that somebody's gonna think that if they quit smoking, their friends won't, but it's more the principle, if anything. This game is simply a sloppy product that could have been great, with a good message behind it, if it had just been handled a little differently. You know, I really wanted to put a positive spin on this one, but I just couldn't. The game is plain bad. I found nothing enjoyable about it other than the rooms that I was actively discouraged to explore. And you know, that kind of sucks, because I always try to look on the bright side on this channel, but I guess I found something which is just truly bad. I give One Leaves 1 out of 10. This game really sucked. Thanks for watching, comrades. And if you haven't heard yet, I've launched channel memberships, which means you can purchase one of 2 tiers to support me. It's a monthly subscription, but each tier has its own perks. Like if you were a tier 2 member, you could have seen this video early. So isn't that fun? Well, I think that's all for me. See you all later, goodbye.